Hello and welcome back. It is time for Chit Chat with two T's as usual. I am your host, bringing you the actual factuals of mental health, jvaldez, counseling psychologist, and with me today, yet another extra special guest, Isma. I have a lot of them in my life, but I only have one child. Did y'all know that I had a daughter? She is fully grown, has made me a grandmother. Okay, so it's my pleasure to introduce to you all today, Dr. Dr. Kiara Matthews. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
it's
being
really
here.
a pleasure. It's really a pleasure to be here. We know this has been a long time coming.
Oh my gosh, the longest.
But
that's okay, because good things come with those who wait.
Indeed.
She nice, huh? She nice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So Kiara and I go way back, all the way to maybe 2010? 2010. Right? And we would have both gone to the prestigious HBCU, known as Howard University, HU.
You know.
That's right. Right? So we would have been actively involved in quite a number of things together, especially the Newman Club, which is the Catholic group up there. And we've just always remained very close, even though we see each other maybe once, twice a year. Yeah.
If so much,
yeah. But you know, it's that special kind of bond where we don't have to see each other all the time for the love to flourish, and that's what we have. So I've told you about us, but now Kiara invites you to tell them about you, because I know.
Of course, you know. So, as you said, my name is Kiara Matthews. I am a speech language pathologist. We could get into the nitty-gritty of what that is, but I don't think we have enough days for that.
But we will get into it.
We will get into it a little.
Yes.
I've been practicing for 8.5 years now.
Oof.
Yeah. I am also the program coordinator of the speech pathology programs at UE St. Augustine. I have my own private practice called Choice Therapy. In addition to just being a full-time mother and wife, you know, you never get time off from that.
Never.
So my life is full. My life is full.
Yeah. That's it. It really is, in more ways than one.
So
thank you for squeezing us in today. But actually, that was a pretty good segue, I guess. Before you tell us more about what an SLP is, that is the abbreviation, guys. SLP. We're going to start with our first segment, which is what's in your cup. So today, I stole my mother's cup. Okay, I borrowed it. Because I'm running out of cups. So if you all, get me some nice cups. So this one is Faith. That's right. She got this one. It says Faith. Okay, she just got it from someone. Trisha Hudlin Cooper. Madam Justice.
I know Trisha.
Madam Justice.
Right?
And I'm using it. So in my cup, I have some sort of memory focus tea, also from my mother. But that's okay. That's okay because she loves me, so it's fine. And clearly I need it because my memory is all over the place these days, which is really not the best thing for a therapist. So I decided to get some memory focus tea. So that's what's in my cup. How about you?
So I am using my girl mom cup because that's what I am. Mama girls. They always talk about girl dad. I'm just like, but they got it from me.
That's right. You're a girl mom.
I'm a girl mom. In my cup, I have decaf black tea.
Okay. Look at you.
Because I am expecting again.
Oh,
so the coffee, I have to not have the caffeine, which is sad.
Manage your addiction.
Yes, because I'm always tired and I always need a pick-me-up. So I'm trying to compromise and do the right thing and have non-caffeinated drinks. I feel often, like this morning. But I already had coffee for the day, so I can't have it again.
A for effort.
So I'm going to have
managing. That's good job. It's not as good as coffee, I guess. I'm not a coffee fan. I have to be in the mood. Excuse me. And even when I do have it, I usually mix it with Milo. Who drink of champions? I'm not ashamed.
That's called a cafe mocha.
That's right. I make my own little mochaccino. I do the things. So that's what's literally in your cup. What else is going on with you? I mean, as you said, your life is pretty full,
My
but maybe
life
you could
is
tell us some
pretty
more about
full.
that. Mm-hmm.
So gosh, where to start? I think I'll start from work and then come this way. So as a speech language pathologist, we work with speech and language, but what a lot of people don't know is that we also work with feeding and swallowing because it's the same mechanisms involved, more or less. We also work with acquired cognitive disorders, like brain injury, that kind of thing. And being one of 21 now.
Wow.
I think we're up to 21.
You all went up.
We went up. So we're proud about that.
Yes.
You know, we are always booked. Somebody once joked, it's easier to get an HTC house than to get an appointment with a speech therapist. Right? So
I like it.
Yeah. So we're really busy in terms of work. I predominantly end up seeing children because, you know, the pediatricians are the ones really in the know.
Right.
And then being a mom myself, you know, the children at home, the children at work.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is kind of like, whew, I can't be a teacher.
Yeah.
The teachers, I give teachers all the
Big up to the teachers.
Yeah. So as I just mentioned, our numbers are pretty low. So since 2019, I've been working at E, working with their both undergrad and postgraduate programs. And 2021, we took in a cohort of 18 students who are on their way to become speech language pathologists.
80?
18, 1 8.
Oh, 1 8, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, didn't mean to spike the blood pressure there.
Yeah. So it's we're basically trying to double the numbers in the course of 3 years because they're going to graduate next year. So that has my plate really full because as I'm the program coordinator for both the undergrad and postgraduate programs, and we have about 30 students in the undergraduate programs, and then the 18. And then I have to make sure that they get all their practicum and get all their clinical work done, oversee all of the courses and everything like that. So, for example, this semester, they're doing a lot of the medical things in addition to research. And those things are very, very dense.
Yeah.
As particularly because we're in the humanities department. So they're very accustomed to like the language and the speech.
Yes.
But now that we're getting into the science and the medicine and the body parts and the veins and the cranial nerves, and, right? So that has been filling up my days. And with that comes juggling my time because, like I said, I have my private practice. So it's like, okay, I have to fit in the students, I have to fit in the courses, I have to fit in my clients. And then I have an 8-year-old, a 1-year-old, baby on the way, just got married, just moved into a new house. There are not enough hours in the day. So, you know, my personal life, not complaining, you know, the people dream for what I have, but it's just trying to do all of the things all at once has been quite a challenge for me. Like even just physically, like I know we're talking about mental health, but the fact that my physical, so it's overwhelming mentally, and then the physical toll and the fact that my body just can't, that is an additional mental and psychological tax on me as well. Yeah,
I'm glad that you actually said that because I'm sure, you know, your viewers and listeners have heard me say it on more than one occasion. Your physical health and your mental health are inextricably linked. You know, so of course, if you're feeling that stress emotionally and mentally, you're going to feel it in your body. Additionally, you are with child, right? So that it has its own stresses, you know, so of course you'll feel it. And even to tack back to something you said, you just said earlier, talk back to something you said about, you're not complaining. But sometimes it's okay to do that.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's okay to do that, because if it's heavy, it's heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah. So
It's
you're not saying, oh my gosh, this is heavy. It's not gonna make it any less heavy.
Any lighter.
So yeah, you might as well be like, you know what, this is heavy. And you've got that out of the way. You've acknowledged how you feel, and you keep it pushing.
Definitely.
But it is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I have, believe it or not, I've actually put things down.
Yeah.
And people are just like, but you're still busy. It's like, I know.
Yeah, because there's so much. And how is that for you? Just there's so many things to manage, and they all have significant weight. Because I mean, you can't be like, well, I'm not gonna take care of my children today, or this week. Those are things that you can't put down. So how are you managing with the things that you can't put down?
The grace of God.
That's
like I genuinely don't. I genuinely don't know. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, well, if you just do this and you plan and you write in this book and you have all these. It's none of that. It's really just, I wake up every day. I say my prayers. Thanks to you most of the time.
Happy to help. I can.
Yeah. And then I put my feet on the ground and I say, Jesus, it's me and you.
That's right.
And we just go until the day is done.
Yeah.
Until the day is done. I don't want to neglect the support of my family. It's been. I am the type of person who just like, but I need to. And, like they're telling me it's a matter of control. I don't particularly see it as wanting to have control, but more of a, if I don't, I feel guilty. Right? Even something today as simple as, after I brought my older daughter home from school, my 1-year-old was sleeping at my mom's, and I was going for her, and my husband just like, let me go for her. I said, no, it's fine. I'm tired. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
But I told myself, I am the mommy. I need to go get her because I am the mommy. Even though, that's her father.
I was about to say, he's the daddy. He's the daddy.
But it's just really like, I can't. I have a lot of maternal guilt.
Yeah.
Because my work takes up so much of my day and my brain space that, if I come home and I have a class to teach late at night, I don't get to put my girls to bed. I don't get to check homework and then by the time I'm done, they're asleep or, they're finished and they don't really need me. I could, my students are grown. I have adult students. So, I could reply to that email tomorrow.
Right.
But, with my children, I do feel like I just need to do all of the things.
Yeah. All of the time.
Which I know I can't. So I'm really grateful for the support from my parents, support from my husband, my extended family. Because as you know, my family's huge.
Pretty big.
So, so God and help.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of how most of us make it. God and help. In whatever form or fashion that help comes in. So I think a lot of mothers that I come into contact with, they do have that maternal guilt. It's not rational, I've realized. It's definitely not rational.
Yeah.
But how hard is it for you to accept the help? Because you've admitted that you do have help, and you're grateful for it. But how hard is it for you to even ask for it or to accept it?
I think in principle and by nature of my job, I ask for help.
Okay.
Right? Because parents, particularly, like I said, I teach children. the parents come to me for help, and I'm just like, yes, like, don't worry, we will work on this. And I'm the one supporting them and easing their fears. So I want people to come to me for help. So, like, the concept of asking for help when you need it, I could do that. But the help doesn't always come in the way I want it to come.
Yes. You want it how you want it, which could be problematic.
So that is the hard part. It's I'm willing to accept the help, but is it coming in the way that I want it?
Right.
And I'm very clear, you know, after having like tons and tons of this conversation with my husband. It's like, okay, this is how you want it, but this is how it needs to be. And then I go, okay, it's fine.
So he helps you to have a come to Jesus moment, essentially.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's difficult sometimes when, I think especially for a lot of us, because we want to know what's going to happen next, and we also want to feel some semblance of control. We do want the help in the way that we want it, but I guess that's part of the surrender. You know, and I guess living this life, you know, once you have that faith in God or a higher power, you have to be able to also manage
that.
And that's hard. That's not easy.
It's very hard. Yeah, and it's something, and you would think, like, you know, this is something I see in my work every day. You know, parents will come to me, or even clients, so not just the ones with the little kids. Well, we want my child to talk. I want my husband to talk after his stroke. And, you know, having to communicate that speech might not come right now.
Yeah.
Or having to use what we call AAC, augmentative and alternative communication. They like, no, don't use sign language, don't use pictures. I want them to talk. And it's kind of like, we want them to communicate. If
whatever that communication looks like.
Exactly. If / when the words come, then great. But in the meantime, if we want to decrease the tantruming, we want to decrease the tendencies towards depression, particularly in older people after they've lost their language, you know. The number of adults I've seen after a stroke who've lost their jobs, and, you know, they can't go back to work, they can't provide for their families, they become depressed.
Yeah.
And they can't even tell their spouse or their adult children, I want some water.
Yeah.
Or leave me alone, you're talking too much. You know, even something as simple as that, they can't communicate that. And I am usually the person presenting these options in the non-traditional ways. So, you know, having to deal with that in my own life is kind of like, Kiara, don't be a hypocrite.
That's what it is. It's kind of like when I used to watch Grey's Anatomy, I used to be an avid fan. And you watch Grey's Anatomy, and somehow whatever patient they're dealing with is always mirroring whatever they're dealing with in their personal lives. I guess it's something like that, you know? And, you know, hearing about that, because I mean, that's something that I guess a lot of us don't think about until it happens to us or somebody close to us. But how do you manage your patients being depressed? You know, because of the loss of speech, and you have to treat them and you have to help them with that. That also takes a lot of energy, and then you have to come home.
Yeah. It's really about hope.
I like that.
Less so than the communication, just the idea that it will be better. It will get better. Things will get easier. And for the most part, it's really, you know, I didn't expect it to be like this, but I'm so happy, you know. And it's like, okay, that's good, you know, because particularly with children on the spectrum, autistic children, the parents want them to talk, but it's really the parents want them to be accessible. Right? I would say I've convinced people that normal doesn't exist anymore.
I always tell people it's a very relative term. So
like normal. So there was this one child who I've been working with, and in the first 3 months, not a word, not a word. And people think, oh my God, 3 months of speech therapy and they're not talking. But, because he is now communicating through non-verbal means, the tantrums have decreased, his appetite is better, he's sleeping better, he's connecting with the people around him, where you could see that he is happy, the family is happy. They're still not talking,
right? But they're connecting.
They're connecting, and it takes it's giving those families the hope. So even with because I used to work in San Fernando General at one point. And when I say happened upon, I walked into the wrong ward. And I happened upon this family who, my mom was already waiting to be discharged, but the baby wasn't breastfeeding, wasn't taking bottle, had a cleft palate, had a severely retracted chin. And I just happened to hear him crying, sorry. And I said, Mom, what's going on? And she told me the problem. And, I got her to come to the clinic within the hospital that I was at. And in tutus, you would never know that he was premature. You would never know he was having all these difficulties because Mom was like, he's going to eat. He's going to be normal. And I'm just like, that N-word.
Yeah. But that's another N-word.
That's another N-word. But giving the families that hope. And that's how it is for me. On the mornings where I'm just like, here we go again. Just like, okay, today is going to be better than yesterday or as good as yesterday. And always hoping that all the negative things that I might feel or the fatigue and the constant being overwhelmed, like it doesn't last forever. It wouldn't last forever. And knowing that better will come at some point, and that's what I try to give to my family as well.
And I guess that's how we all try to manage. We all have to have a little bit of hope. I think we all on some level yearn for that connection. As you spoke about with the child and his family, we all want that connection. We all want to be seen and heard. We want to feel hopeful. So I guess that's also a good segue to our next segment, which is, what's boiling your water? So you have some hope, but look at the face. But but I'm sure that there are things that would have upset you or pet peeves, especially within your field. I mean, it doesn't have to be SLP related, but you can share something on that as well.
Which one?
It doesn't have to be just one.
My pet peeve is me. That's encompassing it all.
Okay.
I have set a very unknowingly set a very high standard of the work that I can attain or the levels, the things that I can accomplish. And then people just expect me to continue doing so.
Right. Why did they get that idea?
So it's just like, oh, well, you need to meet this deadline and you need to grade all these students' assignments and you need to make sure that your children get all their shots and do all their homework and just everything. And trying to explain to these people, I was like, okay, yes, I'm a good educator, I'm a competent educator, I'm a good therapist, I'm a good mom. I cannot be all things to all people all the time. And it's like you were just saying, trying to manage it all. It was like, how do you manage it all? It's like, I don't. There's always a ball being dropped somewhere. And I feel like I often don't get the grace to not be perfect. So if I'm behind on deadlines and I'm trying to catch up with deadlines, I know I'm sacrificing at home. If I'm focusing, this weekend into this week, both my girls have been sick. I haven't been preparing lectures and stuff yet. I did some, but
You had to prioritize.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, Dr. Matthews, we haven't received this yet. Dr. Matthews, I haven't. I'm just like, well, it's
Can I
me
have a
alone.
second?
Please,
Mm-hmm.
please and thanks. And I think because this is something that I've been experiencing for a lot of my life.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to say that I'm the kind of person who extends that grace to people. I probably am not that, but I feel like I would say that I do
think
that.
if you feel like you are, then maybe that's valid.
I don't know. Self-praise is no praise, but it's difficult not to receive it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then hearing like these, I don't want to call it a backhanded compliment. It's kind of like oh, but you're doing such a good job. And in my mind, I'm like, I could do a better job if you would give me a little more time.
If you could ease them up.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Because then back to that whole perfectionist thing where just like, I feel like I'm giving bare minimum, and bare minimum passes the mark.
Yeah.
And then they expect more and expect more and expect more. And that has been the bane of my, at least the last 2 weeks. Whereas, Dr. Matthews, can you send this to me? Dr. Matthews, can you do this to me? Mommy, Kiara.
Yeah. When does Kiara get Kiara time?
What's that? What's that?
Yeah, that's not good. If we have to
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. And then on top of that, I recently, and when I say recently, probably today, so I read about something being all touched out. My 8-year-old is a very huggy child.
Yeah.
I did that. That's my fault. So is my 1-year-old. And this baby decides that we're going to move all the time. So there's sometimes where it's just like, just don't touch me.
Yeah. I've never heard that, and I quite like it. All touched out.
And it's not that, and of course, like there's the whole spousal intimacy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, at the end of the day, when, I want to share this time with my husband, but I'm tired.
You're tired.
I'm tired. Yeah. And it's not that I don't want to, or, for example, with the 1-year-old being more ill than the 8-year-old, and she's the helpless one. I'm holding her all the time. And then the 1-year-old is like, Mommy, I want a hug. And part of me is just like, I know, but I'm holding a baby.
Yeah.
I'm pregnant. And it's...
Yeah, and it could feel like everything is kind of closing in.
Yeah. And then the guilt sets in.
How do I not hug this child?
How do I not hug this child?
How do I feel like I don't want to hug this child? Yeah.
Or like in the middle of the night when the 1-year-old wakes up, I'm just like, do I have to pick her up?
Yeah.
Like right now. Like I will pick her up. But, just trying to, where's Kiara in all this? So that is, it's I don't want to be mad at other people. It's also me trying to manage that. But it's just, it's the consequence of being in my circumstance.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And I try to remember to be grateful for the things that I have.
Gratitude is key.
I'm not about that toxic positivity. You're not supposed to be like that. You have to be just like, no.
At least you have rattle off.
As it's like, no. I remember that I have a home. I remember that I'm able to bear children.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I have 2 sustainable jobs. I'm happy that my children are well fed. My children don't go hungry. They have access to their parents and their extended family. We are not estranged from them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you
All
just
right.
need a break because you have
Sometimes.
all of that and it's all of that.
It's all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
understandable. You know, in your field, you spoke about, you know, wanting to be able to give that hope. But how difficult is it to do that, especially when a lot of people don't quite understand what you do?
It's easier to do when you hone in on what the people say they want. That's something that I always do. What do you want? Or what do you want for your loved one?
Yeah.
What would you like? And then I kind of tailor my response to that.
Right.
So separated parents of an autistic child is very different to married parents of a child who stutters. The wife of a man who had a stroke versus the adult child of a man who had a stroke.
Right.
You know, the expectations are very different. And as much as I would do the same thing, like therapy would look the same, the people that I'm working with are not the same. You know, so metering out that hope. Because there's some people who are just like, give me bare facts. Don't give me all the nice, pretty things.
Yes,
what going
give
on?
it straight.
Straight. And you know, I feel like I'm better at developing a rapport in a short space of time where I can get to the bare facts in a straight enough way without necessarily being truthful.
Right. Or too blunt.
You know, I've had to tell people that I don't think your loved one is going to eat by mouth anymore.
Right.
Or being the person to realize that they have to get their entire larynx removed before they go to the doctor. So, you know, being that first person before they go, because you'd be like, let the doctors tell them the bad news.
Yeah.
No, sometimes I'm the person who has to break the bad news. Sometimes parents don't know, like, autism. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know? So knowing what the bad news could be, or what they think the bad news is, because they're usually wrong. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. You know, they say parents always know what's best.
Yes.
They don't always know what's worst.
Not all the time. No.
So me now having that picture of what the worst could actually be, it's easier to kind of scaffold the hope towards what they want, or even if their hope is a little bit unrealistic for now, not impossible, just not short term,
right?
Few years down the road, kind of good. Kind of redirecting them towards something that would find that happy middle ground for everyone.
Yeah.
Particularly if their loved one cannot communicate at all.
At all.
Because as much as you want your husband to be able to go back out to work, maybe he was fed up and he just decided he's happy being retired, right?
Yeah. Maybe it's a good win for him.
Maybe, you know, it's probably not the way he wanted to go about it.
Yeah.
But we have to also find where that middle ground is. And I kind of use that dynamic to scaffold that. So this will sound bad. I don't care if you're divorced. I don't know.
That's not really your business.
That's not my business. Right? But if both of you are invested in your child's life and your child's progress, please fight outside of my office.
That's right.
Inside of my office, we are friends.
It's about his or her well-being. Yeah.
We are a team. You know, I've had siblings bickering over daddy should this, mommy should that. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Stop. Let's take it from the bottom up, or depending on the case, let's take it from the top down.
Right.
And kind of build from or work with those pieces, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times people want things to go back to exactly how they were.
Yeah.
And particularly when it's an acquired kind of thing. Something has happened. It will never go back to how it was.
Yeah.
It could be as close to normal, there's that word again, as possible.
Yeah.
But this person has the experience of not being able to communicate. And that now affects how they will communicate in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see it with people who have degenerative diseases as well. I've had 2 people with ALS in my span of my career, and 2 very different cases. One, upper middle class US,
right,
access to all the resources, all of the things. And then I've had straddling the poverty line here in Trinidad.
Right.
They can't even get to the hospital to see the doctors. And the family in Trinidad, they were a lot more realistic.
Right.
As to the prognosis, because ALS is, you're gonna go.
There's no cure.
There's no cure, right? It's just a steady decline.
And that's hard to accept, right? Because
that's hard to accept.
The departure from what you know.
So, I had one family ask me, how is this even going? How can you be so cheerful about this? I'm just like, because we want end of life care is also a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't want it to pass in silence.
Yeah.
So if they could figure out how to do this one last time.
Yeah.
Or to show that, something. Form of something. We want to give them that, and we want to give the families that as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think I mentioned this to you. At least in my training, we actually had a course on counseling, because that's the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That
I would imagine so, because that's pretty heavy stuff.
It's pretty heavy stuff. We are not out here claiming to be mental health specialists, even though some of my clients insist that I need to know every single detail.
Yeah, they want to just give you their entire lives. Yeah.
I'm just like, how about I give you a referral?
Yeah.
I know some good people. But you would see how much that plays into the fabric of who they become in the process of being either the caregiver or the recipient of speech therapy.
Yeah.
My 1-year-old been saying mommy. Some of my clients will probably never hear that.
Yeah.
Some of their parents will probably. And then I have some 22-year-olds who've had brain injuries. Their parents will never hear mommy again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's just, making sure that the people get yes, it's hope, but you don't want to be like, oh my God, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Because you want to be realistic hope, if that's such a thing.
Yeah.
So you started out by saying that, your plate is very full. You have a very full life in more ways than one. And you also said, when I asked, in terms of your self-care, any time for Kiara, you're like, what's that? So, which is, to the point where now I ask you, well, how's your mental health? How are you doing? How are you managing? Should we take that face and just cut it right here? I
think we're good.
Yeah. Good show.
My mental health sucks. If I'm very honest.
And we're glad that you're being very honest.
But sounds like I'm going to negate what I just said. My mental health sucks. Full stop.
New sentence.
I know that the things that I'm doing are important.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what helps me put one foot in front of the other
Mm-hmm.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
I am responsible for 18 future speech therapists. So regardless of how I feel, regardless is not the word. There would be days where I would say, "Yo, we don't have a class today.
Right.
We don't have a
Good.
class today," because I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
But I would provide the resources for them to, have enough to make up for the fact that I can't.
Yeah.
Even as a parent, again, kudos to my husband. Sometimes I just need to go outside for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
By yourself.
By myself. Leave me alone. Please. Or I live in a multi-level home. My parents and my brother live downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll just go downstairs.
Yeah.
And I think they know me well enough to be like, okay, Kiara's coming downstairs, just stay quiet.
Yeah. Stay out of her way.
Stay out of her way. But those drives to pick up my daughter from school.
Yeah.
And the 2 hours in the morning between getting her ready for school and baby waking up.
Right.
I kind of try to make that my time.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually like making sure things are ready for the baby and making sure But somebody once said, when you see a mom on vacation doing housework, that's not a choice. That is maternal guilt masking as choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go, okay, well, I have some time, I can wash it.
Yeah.
I have some time, I could do the laundry.
Mm-hmm.
However, at the same time, it's like I feel better.
Yeah.
When my kitchen is clean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel better when I know my children and my family are taken care of. Mm-hmm. I would rest better.
Right.
Once those things are done. Sometimes I pay for help. I have a housekeeper who comes sometimes.
Sometimes you need to ask for help and accept the help.
Right. There are times my husband, he works later hours than I do. Mm-hmm. So I would go to bed and I'm frustrated because the kitchen is in a mess and and then I wake up and it's spanking clean. It's like, oh, this is amazing. This is wonderful. That I just go sit on my couch and do nothing. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So there's no thing that I do to say that's Kiara's self-care.
Yeah.
I do that absent-minded scrolling on social media.
We do it.
I'm that person. Similar to you, I'm really into medical dramas. So not so much Grey's, but like...
Yeah, Grey's have kind of fallen off.
Chicago Med.
I've heard that's good.
I just finished watch New Amsterdam.
I've heard that's good too.
That's amazing.
You know what I'm on right now? It's an oldie but a goodie. I don't know if you remember ER.
I've been watching ER too. There we go. Right? So those kinds of shows.
It's so good.
And then sprinkling some SVU in there.
Of course.
Some Criminal Minds in there.
Yes.
And that's like my daily thing.
So you still have something where you can decompress at different points. A little bit.
Yes. A little bit. Because, there's always, Mommy, my homework. Mommy, my bottle.
Yeah.
But it's not, so there's no so I am not the go to the nails.
Yeah.
The hairdresser's not really a thing anymore. Sometimes I would go, but it's really just finding those pockets in the day to recharge.
Yeah.
Because as you know, I am very introverted.
Yes, I realize I'm surrounded. So I've accepted
you give us enough.
Yeah. I'm surrounded.
So I have a very small circle of close friends, and they would know, okay, we're not inviting Kiara. We're telling her we're going, but we're not inviting her. Or they would be like, hey, can we come over? Like,
right.
Sure. And it's been my two childhood friends. One of them has literally been my friend since the day I was born. Like when my mother brought me home from the hospital, she was there. Now that we live closer together, we get to see each other more often. Our daughters go to school together. So that's really nice. And it's those little itty bitty things that make up enough to keep me going.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm always tired. I mean, apart from being pregnant, like I'm always tired.
That's a different type. There's a different type of tired.
That's a different type of tired.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I would say I have enough to keep me going.
And sometimes that's what you need. Just enough to keep you going. Of course, my hope for you is that at some point in time, and I don't know if that's me being an idealist, but I do hope that at some point in time, things kind of balance out enough for you to be able to have a little bit more. And I guess maybe as the children get a little bit older, the pockets might be able to become, if not longer, at least a little bit more in frequency, But at least for now, I'm glad that you have just enough to keep going. And I think that's beautiful. Because sometimes we want the ideal and the dream and, oh gosh, if I can only get this or if I can only do that. But sometimes we need to just hold on to just enough to keep going. Not in like a desperate kind of way. Just
no.
Just enough to keep going.
Just enough. It's just
enough. Well, Kiara, this has been great. As I knew it would happen. Yeah. So thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely full schedule to be here with us today on Chit Chat with 2 T's. So, I mean, as we close, is there anything that you would like to say? Any upcoming projects or just anything that you would like the viewers to know?
I would just like to say that don't be afraid to communicate in the way that you need to communicate. It might not be what people might expect, but the things that need to be communicated, communicate them, especially where your mental health is concerned. Just communicate it so that you're not isolated anymore.
Yeah. Good job. Well done. Well, again, Dr. Kiara Matthews, thank you so much for spending time with us. Oh, how could I forget? How can we find Choice Therapy?
Choice Therapy, you can find me on Facebook. choicetx. TX is medical shorthand for the word treatment or therapy. So cute. And then on Instagram at choicetx.tt. You can find us there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So you heard it, please make sure and find Choice Therapy, and you have their social media information, which we will also place in the description below. So when you're ready to find them for your SLP needs, it's quite easy. All right. So again, thank you, Dr. Kiara Matthews, for spending time with us today. Of course, it really is because you have a
really, like I said, I always say that now. That's my new thing. Thanks for having us because it's two of us here.
Right. So as usual, guys, I'm jvaldez, counseling psychologist, and this has been Chit Chat with 2 T's, making sure to give you all the mental health actual factual. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
And see you.